for your meditation.
Hey, what's up guys? Bill here. I'm in front of my streaming setup. Now this is my first viewer request video. My main man Stigs from the YouTube channel STIGS WORLD requested this video. If you don't know Stig World, go check him out. He's an awesome dude and he does really amazing stuff on his YouTube channel. So I stream live Amiga video games on twitch.tv/AmigaBill. Lots of you from this Guru Meditation YouTube channel have been there. I really appreciate that. If you haven't been there yet, feel free to come check me out over there on Twitch. It's really a lot of fun and it's a great community. Now, Stiggs was like, hey man, like this live Amiga streaming is pretty cool. I would love it if you could post a setup video to your YouTube channel. So here it is. Here you go, Stiggs. Now, I never really thought about doing this before. It's pretty cool. Thing is, like, this is my setup as of July 2nd, 2017. It's been an evolving process. I didn't know anything about streaming when I first started, so I've like learned things. I've upgraded here and there. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be upgraded. If I were doing this over again from scratch, I would probably do it differently than I have here. But you know, this is how it evolved. This is what I have. It's been working pretty good. I'm definitely going to make some improvements on it, but so far it's been doing a good job, and let's take a look at it. Alright guys, this is my basic setup. This is what I see when I'm streaming. It's a 3-monitor setup. Over here on the left, I have my main streaming software monitor. Right now, as of July 2nd, 2017, I'm using software called Game Show. There's other great options out there like OBS, and this actually might be one of the last days that I use Game Show. I've actually upgraded to a better version of Game Show called Wirecast. It's a more professional version. So from here on forward, I'm probably going to be using Wirecast, but for now, I've been using Game Show for like the past 6-7 months, and it's been really good. Over on the middle monitor is where I have the actual gameplay. This is where I look at the game as I'm playing it, whether it's a PC game or an Amiga game. And then over here on the right is my MacBook Pro. This is the computer that's actually doing the streaming. And I have Chrome open right now. It's open to my dashboard so I can monitor the stream to make sure everything's okay. And then I can go over here and hang out with you guys in chat. Awesome, I love chatting with you guys. This Mac is being pushed to the absolute max. So if I ever upgrade, this is one of the things I want to upgrade. This is an Intel Core i7 2.6 gigahertz machine with 16 megabytes of RAM. And let me tell you, I push it to the max. This machine cannot handle any more streaming than I give it right now. Okay, now there's 4 basic components to my streaming setup. Number 1 is the actual Amiga itself, because we want to see what we're playing. Number 2 is the webcam that shows me. Number 3 is the webcam that shows the Amiga. And number 4 is the audio. So let's go through those right now. So right now I'm streaming from my Amiga 1200. I also stream from my Amiga 500 a lot as well, but the past broadcast I just did was on my Amiga 1200. Now I take the output of the 1200, let's see if I can sneak in over here. I take the RGB out over here, and I also have my left and right audio coming out. Now I have a special cable. It's called an Amiga RGB to SCART cable. Now SCART is a European connector that many Americans aren't familiar with, but it's actually a really excellent way to get video out of your Amiga. So basically the left and right audio and the Amiga RGB out are contained in the same wire. And this output comes over here to this little box. This is a SCART to HDMI converter box. Now there's the SCART cable right there coming into the box. And this box upscales and converts it to 1920 by 1080 resolution for me, and it exports the video out via HDMI. Now, this box is really cool because it allows you to hook it up to a regular monitor, but in this case, I need to record this output, so it's going to be going to my capture card. Now, even though I'm using this converter box and it's treated me pretty well, it's not perfect, but it's only 40 bucks and it does a pretty darn good job for 40 bucks. I made another video on the YouTube channel here about connecting your Commodore Amiga 1200 to a modern display, and this is one of the ways I recommend doing it. Now the box isn't perfect, and there are some people out there who are like, oh man, that box is crap, don't even bother with it. And I don't agree with that at all. This box is not perfect, it definitely has flaws, but for 40 bucks you can get a really nice image out of your Amiga. Now what's not perfect about it? Well, first of all, when it scales it to 1920 by 1080, it stretches the image, so you need to correct the aspect ratio over in your software, otherwise everything's going to look stretched. Other thing about it that's not great is there's like a little bit of weird like smearing around the edges of the mouse pointer. But you know what? For 40 bucks, I can live with it. I've seen some people say that this thing has like 7 frames of lag, and that's just crazy. If it had 7 frames of lag, I wouldn't even be able to click on the icons. Now there's some other awesome Amiga YouTubers that also stand by this box. MsMadLemon's one of them. If you look at her Nostalgia Time videos, they're all done with this box. And also Retrogamer.ca uses this box as well. It's a really cool little device for 40 bucks. You know, you might be able to get better results using the Innovision AGA out, but the thing I like about this box is that it just uses regular Amiga RGB, like I showed you before. And a lot of times in the middle of a stream, I'll swap Amigas. So like right now I have the 1200 up, but I might just swap it to my 500. And using Amiga RGB output just makes it super, super simple for me to swap Amigas mid-stream. If I was using the Innovision AGA, it would be a little trickier because I don't have one on my Amiga 500. Okay, back over here, back to the box. We've got our HDMI coming out of the box, and now it's going to go into another box. And over here, I have one of my favorite pieces of gear. This is a decimator. I mean, how can you not love a piece of gear that's called a decimator with a huge spider on it? I love it. And it's red. Bonus points for that. Anyway, the decimator is a video scaler, frame rate converter, and video splitter. And this thing's awesome, man. I love it because I feed this lots of different frame rates and lots of different resolutions, and it can convert to 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second to make it really easy for my capture card to understand what's coming at it. And I stream at 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second, so the video is just coming in exactly as I stream it. So here's the HDMI in that's coming out of the SCART to HDMI converter. Now here's the HDMI output, so it's splitting the signal. This HDMI out goes back over to here to my center monitor, so I can see what I'm doing, I can see what I'm playing. Then over here, like I said, this is a splitter, so one split of the Amiga signal goes to the HDMI, and the other one is over here. This is an HD SDI cable. So I take the HD SDI out of the decimator and I bring it over here. Sorry, it's a little dark in this corner. This is my capture card. It's a Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini recorder. Now, this box is not something I would recommend. I've reined it in. I've reined it in, but this box is very, very finicky and very particular about the signal that you send it, and it's also very particular about the software that it works with. So I was able to rein it in by using the Game Show software and Wirecast, and also converting it to a very specific frame rate that it understands with the decimator. I'm telling you, man, I had hair before I started using this Blackmagic box. It's given me lots and lots of anxiety, but I finally reined it in. If I were to do this again and build this system from scratch, I would look elsewhere for a different capture card. Okay, so there is the HD SDI coming in, and on the other side it has got a Thunderbolt output which comes over here to the laptop, and as I said, this is my main streaming machine, and this is where the input comes in from my capture card. Okay, it's that middle one right there. I can't point to it because this camera is really big and heavy, and I will drop it. Now once we're over here, let's take a look at the inputs on the side of this computer. Up here is the power. Then the first Thunderbolt input is actually an input-output. That feeds my second monitor over there with the software on it. And it also contains my internet connection. It contains my Ethernet connection. Now I never ever stream on Wi-Fi, it's just too slow and too unstable. I always stream plugged in to Ethernet. I've got 75 megabits up and 75 down, which I feel like is almost like a minimum. I know a lot of streamers have even faster connections. It can be done with a slower connection, But regardless, I recommend being on an Ethernet and fiber if you're lucky enough to have it. Okay, so that's how I get the Amiga into my streaming computer. Now, like I said, there's also a camera on me, a camera on the Amiga itself, and the sound. So let's take a look at the camera that is focused on me. This is just a really simple $50 webcam. It's a Logitech C920, and it has a USB output on it that comes right over here and is plugged in to my laptop. Now, you might be questioning me, like, why are you using like a cheap $50 webcam? Well, truth is, like, I like it because it's got a USB output on it, and also, like, the bottom line is, with all these cameras, it all comes down to lighting, right? So if you aim a $50 webcam at a subject that's well lit, it's actually going to look pretty good. Some people use, better cameras like Canon Vixias or whatever to have their image, and that obviously would be better than this. But as you can see, my desk space is limited, so putting a bigger camera on my desk would be challenging. So far I've been really happy with this Logitech C920. Used the right lighting, and it looks pretty darn good in a very, very small package. Now, a lot of folks who stream retro do it with emulators, and that's totally cool, man. Like, I love emulators myself. But one of the things that kind of separates me from the pack is that I do have real Amigas, and I can stream from the actual real Amiga. So I want to showcase that. So the other camera that I have set up is this overhead camera, and this is another Logitech webcam. This one is a C930E. It's also a 1080p webcam, and I like it because it's really small and I can rig it up above my Amiga and get that overhead shot. People love to see the gorgeous Amiga 1200 or 500 sitting on the desk, and they can also see like my hands on the mouse. They can see my hands on the joystick with this angle. It's really, really cool. Main difference between this overhead camera, the C930E versus the C920, is that this is a wider lens. So I can really like get in there and capture the full width of the Amiga without having to put this thing like all the way up on the ceiling. And again, it's a USB out, so I have that coming in over here, and that's the input for my C930E, the camera that showcases the real Amiga. Now, obviously, sound is a really important part of the stream, so I'm using this microphone here. This is actually a monoprice camera mic. It's really designed to be on the camera that I'm holding right now, but I found so far that it's actually working pretty well for the streams. It's got good sound, and it's like not super, super expensive. You'll notice like a lot of the pro streamers, they use a studio mic, and the studio mic just sounds awesome. It definitely sounds better than this. The downside is the studio mic has to be like inches from your mouth. So if you see a shot of the streamer, the microphone is like right in their face. And you know what? Honestly, that doesn't really bother me because the sound is good. But I decided that I don't want to have a microphone right in my face. Like I want my face to be clean, man. I want people to see my face. And I don't want to like block my Amiga t-shirt either. So I just went with this mic because it can be a little farther away and still sound good. It's got a hypercardioid pickup pattern, and it's got XLR out on the back. Now this mic is being fed into my mixer, which is over here. Sorry for the shadow. This is a Mackie 8-channel mixer. Here is the XLR cable coming into the mixer. As you can see, I can have up to 4 XLR mics and a couple of unbalanced inputs as well, but XLR mics are the way to go. They're the same mics I can use in this camera, and it's just really easy to plug them into this awesome mixer and get the sound into my computer. It converts the signal to USB, and then the USB signal I just plug directly into this Mac. I actually have another external USB hub that's like somewhere down here on these hard drives. That's it right there. It's hard to see, but it's going into that USB hub right there. So like I said before, good lighting is the key to making a quality image. Whether you're using a $50 webcam like I am on the streams or a much more expensive one like the one I'm holding right now, it all comes down to good lighting. Now you can see I have 2 lights up there. These are daylight balanced LED lights. They're about 8.5 inches square, and they're pretty solid lights. If I were to like really do this full time and have a proper studio, I would use larger and softer lights, but these suckers were in my kit. I pulled them out. They've been working well for me, and yeah, they've been giving me good results, and they don't run too hot, so I like them. and they're not super soft, but they're soft enough. And speaking of soft light, I also harness the power of the sun. I have a window here that faces south, and let's see, I can close this down a little bit, and you can see here that I've got a sheer. It's like a regular window shade sheer that diffuses some of the sun. And then I also have this material here that I add to it to make the light even softer. This is called quarter grid cloth. It's something that I use on movie lights to soften them. But I just put this to double diffuse the light coming in from the window, and it just makes the light in the room super soft and beautiful. Now, I can still stream at night, no problem. I'll just rely on these two little suckers. But during the day, I just get like this really nice soft light. And lately, I've been doing a lot of streams during the day, so that works out well. Now, if we turn around, we can see my green screen. So I sit in front of a green screen in this rad DX Racer chair that I'm pretty darn lucky to have. This is a 5x7 green screen, 5 feet by 7 feet. For all you metric folks out there, you can do the conversion, but it's probably about, I don't know, 1.5 meters by 2.25 meters, something like that. But it's a pretty good size for what I do. Now, if you're going to buy a green screen, there are actually 2 types of green material you can get. The most common one is called digital green, also known as DigiGreen. However, here I'm using the other one. It's called chroma green. Reason for that is, like, as you can see, well, my chair is usually not quite this close to the green screen, but my green screen is pretty close to my chair. And chroma green is darker and less reflective than DigiGreen. So what happens is the light on this green screen doesn't bounce back onto me as much as it would if I was using DigiGreen. Now you can see like a lot of streamers, they have like this fuzziness where you can actually even like see green on their outline, like the outline of their shoulders and their head. And that's because they're using DigiGreen that is too close to their chair. They don't know that. I want to tell them that. They don't know that. So I use the chroma green to control the light spill back onto me. But you know what? I don't get too crazy about it. Like if I was really doing this the right way, I would also have separate lights on this green screen. But you know what? Like I'm just doing this for fun. I need it to be like the least amount of work as possible. So I've been getting away with just bringing the green screen close enough to my lighting to get a good key, even though it's not really the preferred way to do it. It seems to be working all right. It's working like good enough for now. And then getting back to this chair is pretty rad. It's a DX Racer. When I needed a new office chair because my other one was wrecked, and this chair is one that a lot of streamers use, and I was like, oh man, like I'm just gonna be a poser if I get one of these chairs. But what happened was I went on their website and they have like 1 million different models of this chair, and I was just like, oh my god, like I have absolutely no idea which one to get. So I called them up and I'm like, hey, which one can you recommend? And the woman was like, all right, tell me your height, your weight, your waist size, blah, blah, blah. So I gave her all my information and she said, hey man, you're too fat. You need to go on a diet. No, she didn't actually say that. She's like, okay, she took all my information and she's like, this is the one you need. This is the one that will be most comfortable. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So this chair is actually specifically designed, this model is designed for someone of my size, and I have to say that this chair is super comfortable. And believe it or not, my main man, ModernVintageGamer, who's also another great Amiga YouTuber, he actually did like a whole episode just on his DX Racer chair. I mean, I can't imagine anyone doing like an episode about a chair, but if anyone can do it and make it interesting, it's MVG, and he sure did. It's a great episode, so go check out ModernVintageGamer. All right, that one was for you, Mr. Stigs. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Maybe even learned a little something. That would be awesome. Guys, go check out my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/AmigaBill. We have a great time over there. Now, you guys are over here on the Guru Meditation YouTube channel, and Anthony and I have got a lot of great stuff coming up. Today is July 2nd. We'll be posting a new video this week about the ultimate, maybe ultimate, Amiga 1200. We ran into Load WB from Amiga.org at the Vintage Computer Festival Southeast, and he gave us a tour of his awesome tricked out Amiga 1200. I'll be posting that video up this week, so stay tuned. Also, I went digging in my garage lately and I pulled out some awesome old Amiga hardware that I'm dying to fire up and test out. So Anthony and I will be getting back to our roots on this channel. We've done a lot of great videos from VCF Southeast, but but now it's time to get back to the roots and start firing up some old hardware. So stay tuned. We've got some really cool, unique stuff that we're going to be firing up. So guys, thanks so much for checking out this video, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Guru Meditation. And come check me out, Twitch TV/AmigaBill.